Who owns this lighthouse? Does it belong to the gems since it's on top of their temple? Does it belong to the city or the state or the Coast Guard? I think in most cases, the light itself is controlled by the Coast Guard and the building is privately owned. It could also be owned by Fryman because there's a few episodes there with Ronaldo. It could also just be abandoned, who the hell knows. Look at all this. First scene in the episode and we get a look at all these gold coins and a jewel-encrusted gold chalice. With the other things in this shot, like a compass, this old bottle, and what looks like a broken part of a ship's mast, I think Amethyst was doing a little bit of piracy back in the day. The inside of the temple is what some nerds might call non-Euclidean space, but I've been told it's not the correct use of that phrase. A better way to describe it would be that it contains spatial paradoxes. In an earlier episode, Steven falls from Pearl's room into Amethyst's room, and in this episode, he falls through a puddle in Amethyst's room and ends up in Pearl's room. If you want to know what actual non-Euclidean space looks like, look up the game Hyperbolica. What does Garnet do with all these bubbles all day? Is she sorting them, researching them, trying to find a way to fix the corruption?
Only Garnet is allowed in there. Let's do something less dangerous.
This episode's entire plot revolves around the other gems not being allowed into Garnet's room, but that's kind of contrived. That's never been a rule before or after this episode. Steven's been there twice before, and several times in later episodes.
Whoa! How do you even stack your stuff that high?
This makes me think of that game Getting Over It, but this episode came out several years before that. This shot is surprisingly clean. Wasn't there just a bunch of crap all over the place? This is a rare look inside Pearl's room, and if I'm remembering correctly, this episode is the last time the show has any scenes in here. Add Pearl's whole room to that list of things that don't show up after season 1. Alright, here's where I go insane. These gem shards have no continuity whatsoever. In the first shot, there are 15. In the next shot, there are 19. When it pops, there are only 13 in Steven's hands. When they form, I counted at least 17 monsters. When they put them back in the bubble later, there's 21 shards, and when they put the bubble in Garnet's room, there's only 20. This is nightmarish, and I spent way too much time on this. Let's move on.
Just wanted to see how the shards are reacting to Rose's bubble. And it's none of your business.
I think it's Garnet's business.
Oh!
Don't tell her.
How are you gonna stop me?
What is this? The way Pearl and Amethyst act in this episode is like a couple of first graders ready to tattle on each other to the teacher. This isn't even the most immature we see gems act in this show. I can let it slide for these two because their whole thing this early in the show is that they constantly get under each other's skin. But when we start seeing other gems behave like this, I'll have more to complain about. This shot has this weird flickering effect. I thought something was wrong with my monitor, but no, it's part of the episode. Here, let me turn up the contrast, it might be more visible. Alright, shard monsters. These guys are pretty important in Season 2 when they get mashed together into fusion monsters. But here we get to see that a shattered gem can still attempt to take form, but it'll end up being incomplete, like these body part monsters. We did see gem shards all the way back in Frybo, but those didn't take form. Maybe they were corrupted?
We gotta get Garnet.
No way. We just freed a bunch of mindless gem chunks, okay? They're gonna crawl who knows where all over the temple. When Garnet finds out, we're dead.
She's not going to find out.
This is seriously some elementary school level behavior. This kind of story works if the characters are really young. Like, if a kid breaks an expensive vase and hides it from his parents because he's afraid of what kind of punishment he might get. But Pearl and Amethyst are thousands of years old. They should have better street smarts, right? Again, this is going to come up in later episodes as well. Shouldn't this pizza be inverted? Like, the two slices that are missing should be the ones that are actually there? This is just confusing design. I'd be going in there with 2 cards saying, like, I got a pizza and a half. What dictates what part of a gem forms when it's broken apart? All of these shards form into arms or legs. No heads or torsos or butts or kneecaps. Or like single fingers? What if a gem broke into 10 pieces? Would they all form into hands and feet and limbs? Unless all of these shard monsters were found and killed in like a half hour, it's amazing that Garnet didn't notice any noise, or one hadn't somehow made it into her room, or Rose's room for that matter. They got away in Pearl's room so fast that it's incredible that they were able to catch all of them so quickly. This episode has a lot of shots focusing on hands, and a lot of the hands look really strange. It's like the faces from 2 episodes ago. Someone in the comments of that video said something that can apply here. It's definitely not a first draft, but it sure feels like a second draft.
That looks like all of them.
Yeah, secret team!
Are you sure we didn't miss any?
No way, we totally nailed this.
Yeah!
We're dipping back into that Season 1A level of obnoxiousness for Steven. I'm exaggerating for sure, but it does feel like he's regressed in terms of maturity. Especially in the last 2 episodes, he seemed to take things much more seriously. Why do they have to drop Steven's entire top half into Garnet's room? Why not just shove the bubble in? I'm asking a bigger question with this, though. When they dunk Steven in, it kinda looks like Garnet notices him, but I have to ask why, as in, what purpose does this scene serve? The idea that Garnet might have seen him is a total red herring. It doesn't go anywhere because Steven spills the beans to her later. It creates this tension that just doesn't go anywhere.
We were the best, Fronin.
Who was the best?
I can't tell you.
My mind keeps going back to this, that Steven needs some other human friends his age. That way he can do this kind of playing pretend that kids do. Hashtag justice for Petey. Bring back Petey and Lars of the Stars or something, I don't know. This episode can't do shard continuity, but it can sure handle counter continuity. These things on the counter are on point. That's better than most other episodes. This whole scene has murmuring in the background, like there's a bunch of people on the beach, and all these umbrellas are up, but no actual background characters. Makes it feel kinda dead.
That kid keeps getting weirder.
I like your hat!
They put Ronaldo in this fedora, which was a trademark of Reddit atheists back when this episode was made, which extends to the Ronaldo archetype, the weeaboo conspiracy theory slinging nerds. Also, here's the Keep Each City Weird post from this episode, just because Ronaldo was in it.
So the mission is, we break in and get it back. And bam! The secret team is back on top!
If the idea is to perform a heist, I think you're gonna need more details than just break in and get it back.
That was about fixing our terrible mistake.
Your terrible mistake. You shouldn't have had that bubble in the first place.
It never would have popped if you hadn't invaded my personal space.
Honestly, I still don't understand the rules, but as the episode presents them, I'm with Amethyst here. Pearl can't get on her high horse about personal space if she was the one who stole something from Garnet's room. You kept those? Also, where were you keeping them? Did you just spawn them in? This table is placed diagonally, but in the next shot, it's square against the wall. And is this Ruby in this picture? It sure looks like her. It might actually be a real Easter egg. Also, this is an autographed picture of a young Mr. Smiley.
And now you're trying to do the right thing.
Not really, I just want secret team again.
I see.
Does Garnet actually drink any of this? It kind of looked like she picked it up and changed her mind. I don't think Garnet ever eats anything throughout the whole show. I know about the comics, you can stop typing your comment about it now.
Pizza daughter.
Pizza Daughter has lived in my head for years. I think it's a severely underrated Garnet line. I don't get what Pearl does in her room. There's nothing in here. I know I've said that before. Why does she have her spear? She's just staring at it or something. Is she meditating? It seems like the most likely answer. Alright, I answered my own question. Notice Garnet puts her hands behind her back so she can shapeshift them. Garnet never puts her hands behind her back. It's kind of weird to see her do it, but you wouldn't notice it if you aren't looking for it.
What's this all about, Garnet?
These line reads are bad on purpose. Zach Callison was a great voice actor this early on. The idea here is that Steven himself is not a good actor, so it's not a real bad line read, but I wanted to comment on it anyway. This is not the first and not the last time the gems have to fight giant hands. And if these are really Garnet's hands and not other stretched out parts of her body made to look like hands, where are her gems? Guys, I don't think this is the real Garnet. I don't have much to say about this fight with how brief it is, but I appreciate that it's not just a flat arena. They missed out on actually using the environment, though. I don't think a lot of focus went toward the fight in this episode, though, especially with Pearl just standing around doing nothing for half of it.
We should have told Garnet! We should have told her right away!
Yeah, that's what you said earlier. I don't think Steven was in the wrong at all in this episode. I think he got caught in the crossfire of Pearl and Amethyst's immaturity. He was just following what they were doing because they're the authority figures in his life. Steven was innocent. It was all Pearl's fault, mostly. See how Garnet's arms connect to the other pools without them being visible? It's not non-Euclidean. The temple must be running on some higher dimensions. I'm sure a theoretical physicist could explain, but I'm not that, at least not professionally.
But there are no sides, because we're all in the same team. The Crystal Gems!
This little inspirational speech would have fit way better in a different, much better episode. If it didn't end on a joke, I would have to believe this episode actually was a first draft. You kept the torn up cards too? Where? Why?
Between the four of us, we could have had a free pizza.
I guess that's why they kept them. Just tape them back together, you'll be fine. This episode is a lot like House Guest in the idea that it feels like a holdover from early season 1A. There's a few episodes like this, and I think the reason why is because the first season got extended without much heads up given to the writers. So a handful of episodes had to be rushed, and those were the holdovers from early season 1. That didn't make the cut either because they just weren't that good or they couldn't fit into the canon, like with Greg's broken leg. Whatever the case, there's probably several factors as to why some of these episodes ended up so bad in this second half. Yeah, I think this episode's pretty bad. In the same way as House Guest, it's just boring. It's borderline filler as well, aside from the introduction of gem shards. I usually skip it on a rewatch. Amethyst and Garnet are in character. Steven's operating on a noticeably higher level of obnoxiousness than in recent episodes. Pearl is really out of character. I don't know what's going on with her. It feels like she's a totally different character in this one. I still don't know why they're afraid of Garnet in this episode. They're both written like children. I guess they were right to be afraid of Garnet since she was ready to kill them for their one mistake. But if you want to watch new episodes a week before they premiere on YouTube, you can subscribe to my Patreon for just a couple bucks. The link is in the description, as always. Shoutouts to my journeyman patrons, Boomblorp, Fiore Army, Sindirant, Scala LD, Stephen Wickers, and the Tamara. Also shoutouts to these apprentice patrons. Next week, it's still summer, let's go on an island adventure.